Welcome to the last work session of the Kuryr VTG. In this one, we'll discuss about some potentially smaller topics, and if there is any other topic that somebody wants to bring up, so feel welcome to do that. The one that we had planned from before is the Kubernetes client, the way we watch and patch Kubernetes resources, then testing, and we hinted on Tuesday that we would also talk a bit about the potential Kuryr client. So Javish did some work on this. He researched about the incubator. Thank you, Javish. If you want to go through the points that you put, or otherwise I can take over.
Yeah, thanks, Sony. So I just quickly wrote down some points that might be useful to compare Kubernetes client with the old Python Kubernetes client. So I would like to quickly go through them.
Very well.
So some of the points that I think might be useful are, first is it is generated from latest Swagger spec. So the code is different from old 1.2 Swagger spec. And apart from that, it is as listed PY3 compatible. Most of the projects like Magnum and Cola Kubernetes have started using that. And in Magnum, there are also patches merged for Kubernetes client. And apart from that, it has a watch support, which might be needed in Kuryr Kubernetes, and kube config support, and a few more that were also present in that were not present in Python Kubernetes client earlier. So basically, this is the brief of what I found on it. And apart from that, once you ask like WebSocket and HTTP2, which protocol does it use? So as far as I searched, I think it uses WebSocket for streaming, and the discussion is still in progress on which protocol would be good. So currently, I think it uses WebSocket.
Okay, so when the client Python right now already has WebSocket support, well, that's nice. It would probably make it better than what we have now. I see that you added some action items to migrate from what we have to the client Python and to check performance.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
these could be like modified. These are just
sure.
random thoughts. Yeah.
Sure. No. I have to say that since I see that other OpenStack projects are starting to use it, I think Davanum Srinivas was adding it to some projects.
Magnum.
Yeah, to Magnum, exactly. I think that so it's probably already on the OpenStack / requirements, most likely.
Yes.
So I think that this is a very correct action item, and I don't know, is there anybody that has some concern or opposes this?
No, it's no.
Cool. So yeah, I think that would be good. We would be able to drop probably some code even, which always makes me happy. I suppose it makes happy other people. Less code to maintain, less bugs. Very well. So in terms of performance, like it would be good to see it, but I think that it probably does not play a big part into the decision. I think the decision is more about maintenance and about unifying with the rest of Python projects that have to talk to Kubernetes, and I think that that's a good thing in and by itself. So maybe Ilya can give an estimation of how hard does he think it would be to replace what we have.
Well, probably the biggest part would be migrating from the dictionaries to the objects, because as far as I understand, Kubernetes client would provide us with objects instead of.
Wow, I did not know that. That's interesting.
And it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there would be some changes, of course, but I don't think there is a lot of work, so it should be pretty trivial.
Good.
The only thing is how they support watch actions. So
you mean if they support things like what we want to do for CNI, which is to have a watch with a selector?
That as well, but that's actually
unlikely.
That may require some patches if it doesn't support, but
exactly.
It shouldn't be hard. Pretty trivial change as well. I'm more concerned about the threading model for the watch events. So,
do they use threading?
Well, that's pretty much the question. Because whether I'm not sure if they use threads with callbacks or iterators or something else.
Okay. Do you know, Jaivish?
Currently, I didn't see any threading modules, but I'll check and get back again.
I thought they were using generators, but I don't remember. Like I looked it.
It's similar to how we do it right now, so it should be even easier.
Yeah, with the monkey patching of the green threads, it would maybe just work.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I think for me this is one of the. It's not a top priority, but in terms of non-feature things to tackle in this cycle, I think it ranks up there in the top. But I guess we'll go through that on Monday. All right. Anything else about the moving to the client Python?
No, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. All right. So testing. This is probably our biggest sore spot right now. I was talking in the PTG with the folks from Cola, and they have some tasks and for some setup. I think they are already even moving it to Zool v3, which is kicking into action this week, if I remember correctly. If I say nonsense, Danny will probably correct me. I hope so.
No worries. In any case, Zool v3, well, it was a topic, like I guess from last year. So I hope that everything should be about to kick in.
Okay, very well. So yeah, so they have some tasks that are able to spring up VMs and so on. Obviously, for us, a big hole. Like we have a huge hole. Like it's not just that there is a hole; there just no functional testing at all, and that's something that we have to correct. Mostly it is my fault. So yeah, we need to solve that, and then something that the Neutron and the OVN folks proposed in the PTGs, that we would have some cross repo tasks also the Cola people propose that, so that maybe they don't need to be voting, but then, for example, now we have a task for Dragonflow, and I don't remember if it's voting or not, but well, in any case, the thing is it checks with the latest Dragonflow and the latest Kuryr if it works and so on. So the idea is to have that also with Cola, so that the proposal here is instead of having the functional test based on DevStack, which we may have as well, but it would be interesting to have also one with Cola. That what it does is it uses the Cola. It uses the Cola version of Cola of Kuryr Kubernetes image, unless we make a, like, for example, if we make a patch that requires some change in Cola, then we would be able to override it, like just we would probably have some file or some local override or whatever, or maybe some depends on even, and then that we would just be able to have some of their tasks or some of our tasks post results in theirs and so on. So I think that's a good thing, a good thing in general. The other part in terms of functional testing is the biggest action item, and this cycle I really cannot go unaddressed, is to have the functional test. I put some basic test cases up there. Code functional tests. Functional tests, and yeah, well, so one option is to do it with Cola. The other option is to do it with DevStack. I don't know if anybody has some arguments in pro or con about this.
Well, I'm not so sure because I'm not that much, involved into the project yet. But I was wondering if you want to go with the DevStack, if you have to think about like having a Tempest plugin for this. I don't really know if it would make sense.
Right.
But just thinking out loud.
So we did not. We've never had a Tempest plugin for this. I'm not familiar at all with Tempest. I think Irena and and Ilya and probably everybody else knows more about Tempest than me. I don't know if it may make sense or not. The thing is, our functional tests, so the minimal functional tests basically will be only using client Python for Kubernetes, and maybe some Neutron client to check things about the ports, like the tags are put there or not. And things like that. I don't know if that's something that makes sense to do with Tempest. Otherwise, the idea that I had in mind, like if some people have other ideas, I would appreciate if they bring them up, was that we create a couple of pods. We have some test container already in the repository that doesn't need to go to Docker Hub to be generated. And uses that pod to make one ping the other, gets the curl the other, gets the output also for the pod to service. I forgot to add here pod to service, and checks that the communication works and things like that. So yeah, I don't know, Danny, if that is something that sounds like for Tempest.
To be honest, I'm not really sure yet, but I'll take a look and I'll update you guys like on the meetings from the project.
Okay.
I guess it wouldn't hurt us to spend some time investigating it.
Yeah. I think we also had some offer of help from Yuval, Irena's colleague, about helping with the gate helper and so on for the infrastructure.
Right, for setting up on the jobs.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I can help on that too.
That would be great as well. Maybe we can have a CI team in Kuryr. That would be great. So I heard something about the project config changing. I don't know how that will affect us or not, but we'll probably have to watch out for that.
Yeah, totally. This is all going to change with Full V3. I still didn't check out, but well.
Is it possible or to do the task already with the new format so that we don't need to do it and change it in a few weeks?
I don't know, but I'll ping Yolanda on that.
Okay.
Well,
Cool. What else I wanted to raise about testing? Yeah, so the idea also that we had for some time, and all of you know probably Daniel doesn't, is to also have some tasks like using Rally like we have for libnetwork, so that we can measure the performance and keep a history, like so that we can potentially see if there are regressions once that starts to matter. Right now it's more important to see if we just break everything or not, but so that is not such a big priority. I'll put it still as an action item. And the other aspect of the testing, madam, I had it in my mind and it just flew out.
no worries. Just go on with the flow. It'll come back.
Yeah. I'll continue with something else and hope that it comes. So another thing that we want to tackle is the Kuryr client. So there's some questions there, like it's gonna be for Kuryr Kubernetes. So should it live in the Kuryr Kubernetes repository? I think, like, I'm just gonna give my thought and then people can can weigh in. I think that it probably would be faster for now, like if we want to start making it now, to keep it in the same repo and just generate an extra package or whatever. And in the future, if we decide to move it elsewhere to do that, I don't know if anybody else thinks that we should keep it separate from the start, like Neutron or other or Glance or whatever have.
Sorry, Tony, can you please repeat if it was about the client or CLI? Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, about the CLI that we were mentioning on the, which session was it? In the resource management session, we were mentioning about having a CLI that would talk to some endpoints that we would add to the Kuryr controller, and the idea was whether we should have that client in a repository called Python Kuryr Kubernetes client, just like Neutron, Glance, and Nova have, or we would start developing it inside the Kuryr Kubernetes repository and then move it afterwards if necessary.
It makes sense to eventually to be standalone, but probably will be easier to start under the same tree. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the same, I think. Anybody opposed to that, or the things that we should be a bit more pure?
Another question about the CLI, maybe a bit more driven by if once we have the CLI, does it mean that Kuryr will have eventually some data models that it maintains, and it should
data models in terms of the API, or?
Yes, driven by API, but if it's something that we expect to be persistent in some matter, and once you have operations that you can post and put, so you probably have operations that you can get, right?
Yeah, I would hope. Okay, I would hope. I wish that we managed to do it without having a model with our own objects that needs to go into a database. I hope that we can keep stateless and just interact with Neutron and Keystone. but it may happen if some feature that is very important for our users really requires it. I guess that we cannot just say it will never happen.
But we start by keeping Kuryr as a stateless, right?
Yes, I would say so. Like it may be, if we start getting adding a lot of things like forgetting information and so on, it can get damaging pretty fast, I suppose. But let's wait and see. I don't think we should be planning yet for a model. Mostly for APIs, just like assign namespace to tenant and stuff like that.
I just expect that we would require to provide some operation like to see the information that was configured.
Yeah. We'll have to have that, and an API reference is part of it.
Okay.
Danny, you were not right. It didn't come back. I thought talking about something else would make the testing thing I had in my mind come back, but but it didn't.
No worries. We can always speak offline.
Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody else have more topics so I can think about what I'm missing from the testing part again?
I think one action item for related to testing should be to pick up the proper infrastructure, whether it's dev stack, column.
Oh, thank you, Irena. I just remembered. Yes. So
go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so the problem was obviously for testing pod in VM, and we were discussing this for quite a long time, is that in Atlanta is that the nodes, the VMs that you get in the infrastructure are 8 gigs, and that there is no nested virtualization across the board.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes things a bit difficult for us, and that means that currently with Zoho V2 you're limited to 2 nodes per test. Zoho V3 is expected to give you maybe not as many as we need, but a few more if we need for a test. So for testing container in VM, we would probably have to have etcd and the Kubernetes API and so on, all on bare metal, and then have a worker node that that just is running the kubelet and on the VM that it runs. So it will run a VM with QEMU. So that means it may already take 15 minutes to run the test just because of this, and that so that we can test the support. That's the only alternative that there is now. We hope that at some point Infra can allow us to select machines that have nested support somehow, and I will rely on Danny to to find out if when that becomes possible to move to that. But otherwise there's no way to do the testing. Like if we would want to do the same that we're doing for our demos, which is to have the Kubernetes cluster run on VMs, that would not work. I would have an action point to check actually what Magnum do, because I suppose that they're testing the clusters that they deploy. But from talking with Cola people, it seemed like nested support was not there, and it was ultra slow. The VMs that were running on the infra.
We can just try to mimic what they are doing, at least check what they are doing for now.
For testing the cluster, okay. Deploy, yeah. I wonder if they are not using Ironic for that. I have no idea. There is an update. Some of you probably don't know it. So hit is adding support for trunk ports, like they were discussing it in the PTG, and some people is going to be working on that. Ironic is also going to be working on that, so those are good news. And now I can go back to Irene's point, which was print for which infra to use, call dev stack. Okay, that covers it, Irene, right?
Yes, correct.
Cool. So, am I missing anything from the topics that we did in the session? Some action item that anybody thinks should be there? All right. So, any other topic before we close the VTG? All right. So, thank you all for all these sessions. It was a positive experience. If there is any feedback, you can either go to IRC or to the mailing list about it, and let's see if next time we do PTG, VTG, both, or what do we do?